are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. We are back. It is a Saturday. So our last few shows we have been rocking on Sundays, but I have got wrestling tomorrow morning. My daughter's very first wrestling tournament. Graydon is going to be wrestling again as well. He's varsity. He's done this before. So I'm excited to watch him wrestle, see what a year under his belt is. But it's my, 6-year-old daughter's happy birthday, baby. It is her first wrestling tournament. I got to be there. So we got to do a show today. I also have Zoo Lights tonight. So we're fucking throwing a show up right now. We're live. Evo, I appreciate you for being able to be flexible. I know we both have a ton of shit going on with our lives.
Dude, I can put my ankles behind my head, so I'm flexible as fuck.
Hell yeah. That's the way I like it too.
Yeah, the woman loves it.
Face down, ass up. Wait, hold on. Never mind. Let's transition. Brother, how you doing? How's the weekend going? How was the week? I know you got a lot of things going on, getting ready to happen here pretty soon, but how are things in your neck of the woods?
Hey, it's good out here, man. I think I'll leave most of my Christmas preparation stuff to hopefully another episode of The Talk featuring Sleeveless Mike, yours truly, and the Alabama Ogre, Matt Cooper, which you should check out our other channel on that. Did we drop the new video that we just did yet, or is that
new video is not out yet? New video will be dropping this next week. I have had family in town. I have not had time to sit down, edit the video, and get it pushed out, but that will be happening this next week.
I feel like it's a pretty good one. It's one of our better episodes. It definitely hits a little bit closer home to the dumb conversations that you have on deployment, like we have in The Talk, which is exactly what the show is shooting for. But other than that, yeah, a lot of Christmas preparations, things like that. Basically a super boring work week of pulling extra hours and doing next to nothing. Starting to finally get a little cold out here. We're getting down into the 50s during the daytime, a little bit of snow in the mountains. So that's cool. But yeah, it's just been regular old week. A lot of shopping and prep for Christmas and playing a little bit of video games here and there.
Very nice. Very nice. So I've been getting down with the Call of Duty. Got to play with our boy. $20 is $20 a little bit. I don't know. Have we played the new one together yet or not?
You and I have not played the new one yet.
20 actually.
I spoke to him yesterday. He's gonna be back in town today because you know how he likes to travel for work. And he's supposed to be back in town today. So him and I might play a little bit depending on when he's available and when I'm available. So
depending on what time you guys play, I might try to hop on a little bit tonight. It's going to be very tough. I got 6 kids in my house. They're sleeping on the couch because we don't got enough bedrooms with all the fucking people that are in this house. But I might kick them off the couch for a little while. We're doing Zoo Lights tonight, though. So I'm going to get nice little bake on and go look at some colorful lights because who doesn't love doing that?
Nice.
Yeah, and then I'm more fun. I'm fun dad when I have a nice little gummy. And I'm not so much a stickler for the rules. Yes, it is video game season. What's up, CJ? Fatter and swear. I mean, I swear at 8-year-olds all the time, but CJ knows that. I coach baseball with CJ. He's seen me swear at an 8-year-old before. Now that 8-year-old was my own son, so everybody calm down. But I will swear at an 8-year-old. I'll swear at your 8-year-old if you let me.
Sure.
Yeah,
you could probably pay us to swear or say things. That's kind of leads into the talk episode a little bit, coughing confessors. But anyways,
that is such a fucking funny segment of that show.
Absolutely.
You guys are gonna love the new episode of the talk when that shit comes out. But we had a bunch of comments already coming in. Do we pop Joe Rockstar stuff up here yet?
Yeah, I got it all up there. He's talking about the Niners rematch and how he spent some time up in Vikings country in the cold. The North Dakota area is definitely Vikings country. You get into the Dakotas, you're still talking about Minnesota Vikings. It bleeds over. They don't jump the state and go over to those stupid Scotty bastards. Yeah, that's it's going to be a good one. That Niners game, probably best game of the week.
Yeah, there's some good games. There's some real clunkers this week too, though. But before we start talking about NFL football, let's dive into shit that's going on literally as we speak. We got college football on. It's upstairs in my house right now. I got people with bets on Oklahoma State. My brother-in-law, new to the sports gambling world here in Ohio. They opened up a sports book. He got free $50. I got a free $50. Shout out FanDuel for that, for the referral. But he's like, I'm going to place my $50 free bet on Oklahoma State to pull the upset. And it's not looking good right now. Oklahoma
Not looking good.
Down 28-7. Listen, Texas is a pretty good squad. Oklahoma State can score, but man, Texas can play. Texas can ball. They're going to have to fight back. We got other games going on right now as well. Kind of games that I'm not too concerned with, like Miami of Ohio, cool, Toledo. Those teams are both in Ohio, but inconsequential to football landscape. Like, as you know, this week comes to an end with championship week. Georgia Bama, that is a massive game. That is probably the biggest game of today, because I think Alabama has a shot to beat Georgia. Georgia has not been burying teams like we have seen in the past. I still think Georgia will pull it off, but there was an interesting narrative being tossed around. If Alabama wins, is there a chance that Georgia falls out of the top 4 and is no longer in the playoffs? I don't see that as a possibility.
The only way I think that shakeup happens, is what happens with the Big Ten championship game. Now, do you think that Iowa has any chance of beating Michigan?
Okay, so no, I don't, because they can't fucking score at all. Like, they average, I think, 19 points a game, which I believe means Little Ferentz is getting fired. It was like a mandate that team had to average 20 points a game this year, because the offense has been so bad. So I don't think there is any shot. But there were guys on. I think Pat took the Iowa Hawkeyes to win that game outright on College Game Day this morning. So maybe there is a shot. I don't think there is, though. I love them plus the 20.5, the 21.5,
21.5. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck it is now. I love that because they can play defense. And we have seen that you can slow down Michigan a little bit. So I think that's a great bet, but I don't think they can beat them.
And in general, I think at this point, Georgia probably wins. It is closer, but I don't know if it's within the 4.5 points that they got right now for that spread. Alabama does have a shot, but I think it's an outside shot. And then I don't see Iowa being able to beat Michigan, but I think that that's the only way that we start to see a real shakeup happen in those top 4. And that could possibly propel your Ohio State Buckeyes back into the 4.
We're not getting in. We should not get in. We cannot beat Michigan. We should not get in. I'm going to say it as an Ohio State fan. There will be Ohio State fans that hate me saying that. We don't deserve to be in because we can't beat Michigan.
But I mean, Michigan, you're still set for the playoffs. So how do you think that's going to go?
I mean, I would love another shot at Georgia.
Do you want the championship at this point, or do you want to be done with Ryan Day?
No, I'd rather win a national title. Fucking, if Ryan Day can be gifted an invitation into the playoffs and then find a way to make it work and win a national title, he staves off firing for at least another year or two. Because he's still going to have to fucking beat Michigan. There's no doubt. He has to beat Michigan. That is your main focus at Ohio State. You must beat Michigan. So if he finds a way to get a title, he'll be fine, even after losing 3 straight.
Well, Michigan might be gettable here in the near future, because who knows what's going to happen with Harbaugh, and that's going to change their recruiting. That's going to change NIL. That's going to change the transfer portal for him. So it's possible if Harbaugh makes the jump and is like, fuck this college football stuff and heads back to the old NFL, that could change up Michigan's stance a lot in the college football landscape and make them gettable. Now, does it have the same impact if Michigan is a barely top 25 team and Ohio State's still up near the top and they beat them? I know that the rivalry doesn't. It feels
makes
good.
No difference. It makes no difference if Michigan is 1-11 or 1-10 when we play them. We need to beat them. Doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. If they have won every game and they lose that one, it is a failure of a season for Michigan. If they have fucking no wins, but they find a way to beat Ohio State, that is a win. Vice versa. That rivalry runs deep. That might be the biggest rivalry in all of sport. not just college sport. The Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is intense, maybe rivaled by Duke, North Carolina college basketball.
All right. And then I guess that my other question here is you've got Florida State at number 4 now. Do you think that they really deserve that, especially with Jordan Travis no longer being the quarterback? Because I personally don't think Tate Rodemacher is it. I don't think that they're going to be able to consistently win games even with good teams with him. Jordan Travis is what kind of made that team and that offense pop. I think 4 is a little high for them. Obviously, they're good. They're a very good team. But
I think they deserve it? Yeah. They've won. They've continued to win. They're a major program. Do I think it's going to matter? No, they're going to lose to Louisville today. Florida State's going down to Louisville because the quarterback play is not good enough now without Travis there.
And I think that's how people are kind of seeing it, because right now the line is Florida State -1. So the people aren't giving a lot of faith there to Florida State. Florida State did not look good at the beginning of the game last week, but definitely started to pull away later on in the game. So I think a lot of that focuses around that quarterback situation. Like Tate did not look like anything special there.
No, because it was Carnell Tate, right? Is that who the fuck was playing? Who the fuck was playing?
At quarterback, Tate Rodemacher.
Yeah. Tate Rodemacher. Okay. There's a guy I've been floating around college football for, it seems like a decade, but not that guy. Somebody else that I was thinking about. Not that guy. But yeah, I don't like their chances to win today. And it's very rare. I was kind of talking about this upstairs with the new sports gambling people. College week, like championship week of college football, almost never goes chalk. Like very rarely will every team that is supposed to win during championship week. There's almost always one prize, and then the college football playoff committee is thrown into an uproar, and then we got to figure out who the fuck is going to get in, who's going to make that 4th team. Oregon's out. They're done. Washington secures their spot. Georgia, I think, is in regardless.
Oh, you think Oregon's not making the playoffs?
No, Oregon. They lost to Washington twice. They're out. They're done.
Well, okay, so the playoffs is no longer just 4 teams, right?
No. This year it is 4 teams. It's only 4 this year, I think.
I thought I saw like an 8 or 12 team.
I thought that was next year that was starting.
All right, let's look. Bowl projections passed for 7 contenders, still in for a 4-team field. You might be right. Yeah,
so this year is still only 4 teams. I think that was like in the future, this is what it will look like. All of these teams, I think that it's like eventually coming soon to college football near you.
Well, I think, and that's why, and I might have even posted it to the page, but that's why I was asking the questions about Ohio State. Do you think that they'll
Oh, no.
They still have a chance.
Only 4 teams are getting in. Ohio State needs a shit ton of help. They don't deserve to be there. Washington is in. Florida State right now would be in. I don't think they win today. The real question mark is going to be that Georgia-Alabama game.
And
if Georgia wins, Alabama's done, and they're not out.
Yeah, but if Georgia loses, I
think it's Alabama and Georgia both get in. You'd have to have them as the 3 and 4 or the 2 and the 4. Washington stays in as an undefeated team. And then Michigan. Michigan probably goes
to Washington, right? Not Washington State.
Yeah, Washington. So you'll have Michigan, Washington, Georgia, Alabama, if Alabama can beat Georgia today.
I mean, that as far as ratings, which I'm sure plays into it more than it should, that would be a solid looking college football playoff.
Yeah.
I know it hurts not to have your Buckeyes in there.
It does. We can't beat Michigan, man. It is what it is. But what I don't want to see? I don't want to see Alabama back in after beating Georgia. I hope Georgia takes care of business, beats Alabama, and then we'll go from there. We'll figure it out from there. Because that 4th team is going to be very interesting if Georgia can hold on. I don't think Florida can win today. So who is that 4th team? Is it Texas as they continue to fucking bury Oklahoma State? Maybe. Could Ohio State find a way to get in? I doubt it because they're not playing a game this weekend. It's just Texas seems like the logical thing. if Georgia knocks off Alabama.
Yep. And I did double check here. 2024 is when it expands to 12 teams and
12.
so on and so forth.
Jesus Christ. Well, Ohio State's making the playoffs every fucking year. Woohoo.
But look, I prefer that. On it, like an 8 team would make me happy. A 12 team, like we're talking about actual playoffs now.
Yeah, 12 team gets me bricked up. 8 team's awesome, but 12 gets me bricked up. I like that. That's great.
Yep. It's good for the fans. Even if you're not a fan of one of the teams in there, that's actually good competitive football.
And it's also good for the NCAA to make a shitload more money. So they're obviously going to push that.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly surprising it hasn't been done earlier.
Yeah.
But all right, you ready to move over to the NFL?
I am ready for the NFL. Let's start by recapping what happened last week. Listen, I did okay. Evo, you struggled a little bit. This was not one of your best weeks. Now, nobody went under 500, so that is a plus. I went 10-6 on the week, moving me to 106, 72-2. Evo, you are 8-8 last week. 118, 60-2. Listen, I'm still happy with my percentage. I'm hitting at a higher percent than I hit last year. I believe I'm still just under that 60% after the week before. And you are still well above your 60% mark. I believe you're also hitting at a higher clip than you hit last year. So as we continue to do this, we're just continuing to improve.
I really want to keep that 2-to-1 ratio of wins to losses. That's really what I want to shoot for. And I had one pretty shitty week earlier in the year as well, I think. So it's time for that turnaround again.
Listen, you didn't get a 3-10 week like I did one week, so you're fine. That 3-10 week fucking killed me.
Yeah.
That was tough. But we got a great start on Thursday night. Cowboys money line. We both took money line there. They
close one.
Are able to pull it out. So let's recap what happened on that Thursday night game. The Seattle could have won that game very easily. Looked like they were going to win that game. DK was going off.
The punters could have stayed home.
Yeah, nobody punts. I think there was that 4th time in NFL history that no punts had been kicked for the entire game. It's very rare feat. I hit a same game parlay because how could I not when there was that much goddamn offense? Now, granted, I barely got it because Tyler Lockett was not nearly as involved as I thought he would be, but he got me enough. Exciting game comes down to the wire. Finally beat a team over 500, but they do not bury them. Are we still not sure who Cowboys are? Because I'm not sure. They should be better than Seattle. They should be able to beat Seattle pretty handily, not look like they're going to lose the game for 90% of the game.
Yeah. So this is the thing, is that we had kind of 2 competing narratives here. Is the Cowboys are really good at home. They're now 6-0 at home, but they aren't beating 500 teams or 500 or better teams, which Seattle was. They were 6-5 at the time. So they were barely, and even then they had a struggle. I think the issue here is the defense for the Cowboys. If they're going up against a competent offense, they can have their number taken. Deron Bland, for all the interceptions that he's had, he is just like Trayvon Diggs on the other side when he's healthy. He's like Marcus Peters. It is interceptions or nothing. And that's why he got cooked in that first half by DK Metcalf, and why they ended up having to switch things around and put Stephon Gilmore over on DK Metcalf for the second half of the game.
Well, all DK did was give a little move. It's a slight double move. And Deron Bland's jumping because Deron Bland is out there looking for picks, looking for pick sixes. He's jumping routes. That's how he's getting that many pick sixes.
And to be completely honest, I hate it as a fan of a team. That's not what you necessarily Of course, interceptions are great. I love that. Mm-hmm. But if for the player, I can't blame him, because when it comes to contract negotiations, interceptions matter way more than your overall PFF performance. That's what you're going to go into the negotiating room with. I got you X amount of turnovers this year. I'm having historic turnover numbers. You need me, pay me. And so I get it.
Player that has scored more points than prominent offensive players.
Yes. So it's impressive what he's doing. But that being said, Their defense is Johnny Bag of Donuts. They got a lot of holes in their game, and it's
Nice.
Deron Bland is definitely one of them, but that secondary, the linebacker core, we'll see what happens with Shaq Leonard, if he's actually favoring going there or to Philly. It's interesting that he hasn't made a choice yet. He's probably taking a little bit of a break, get healthy, and then see which one of these teams really starts to pull ahead times by the playoff time, or who needs him more, maybe. Because both those teams could use some linebacker help. I don't like how the Cowboys' offense run game is kind of just whatever. It is definitely a passing team. And I guess I shouldn't say that. I would feel better about the Cowboys if they weren't as one-dimensional as they are. Like, they have a better running game than my Vikings, but like the Vikings beginning of the year were just like pass, and we couldn't really run shit. And it was working most of the time, some of the time, as long as you weren't having turnovers. Like, this Cowboys team, like, passing offense looks great. They're high-powered, potent passing offense, but it is kind of propelling Dak Prescott in this MVP conversation, which I think is a little bit of a false narrative. He looks fine, but he's flourishing. It's like going to one of those high-powered passing offenses in college where a quarterback puts up 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in a season, and then they become nothing in the NFL. Like, it is production based on the system that he's in, but I'm not necessarily seeing anything that special out of him.
It's volume. It's volume-based production is what's happening. Like, we have seen this throughout the NFL several times. Like, it's not something new. And I agree with you that their offense is very one-dimensional. Like, I like Tony Pollard. I like was it Deuce Vaughn. They need a different type of back there. When they had Zeke, they had a thunder and a lightning. They have lightning. They don't have any fucking thunder. They don't have a guy that can wear you down. Tony Pollard can still be your number one back, but you need a change of pace.
Yeah, I don't like the situation that Tony Pollard's in. The thunder lightning is a good thing, except for Zeke wasn't really much of a thunder, and that dull point kind of made the bright spots of Tony Pollard shine even more, and that is what got him the contract and everything to stay there in Dallas. They're like, you need something better than Zeke, but you do need someone to fill that change of pace role. So I would like to see that sort of a move happen, them go after a running back that can kind of complement Tony better, where he's not having to be like the guy. But we'll see. I think the Cowboys are a good team. They're an above average team, especially on offense. Are they going to be able to make a long run in the playoffs? I don't know. When they keep on going up against the Phillies and
as
stuff
soon as
like
they as soon as they run into a Philly or a 49ers, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, I do. So, kudos to them. It was a fun game to watch. I mean, as a fan overall of football, and especially of defense, that was a little bit difficult, but you kind of have to put your blinders on at that point and be like, we are seeing an offensive spectacle right now. So that was really cool to see. It's not super often that you see games get up to 76 points, unless it's Miami versus Denver.
Miami scores fucking 70.
Yeah. But yeah, I was a little bit worried about her pick there for a while, because Seattle looked to have the Cowboys in their hands, especially by halftime. And it just maintained a good game all the way through. So DK worked out for me in fantasy, and we got the correct pick.
We got to watch Thursday night football hit an over. I don't remember the last time we had an over on Thursday night. Like, we've had overs on Monday nights. We've had primetime games, because primetime unders were fucking smacking this year. I think at one point they were 11-0. But a Thursday night over feels like it's been almost 2 years. Now, granted, part of that reason is because Denver was on Thursday night, I don't know, 4 times last year. But finally we got a good Thursday night game.
Yeah, that's don't expect that too much in the future. I don't know what other Thursday night games we got coming up, but this isn't a regression to the mean, or like we're more likely to see a regression to the mean of it being bad. Like, this isn't like some sort of like a sign that tides are turning, probably. At least not as of right now. Amazon Prime, I think they don't get to choose who they have on Thursday nights, and the NFL is like, sure, you pay us a shitload of money to broadcast these Thursday night games, but we're going to kind of give you whatever.
Yeah. So kind of with that, with the bad Thursday night games, with offenses being kind of down, I'm going to ask you a question before we start diving in and making our picks. Quoted as saying that he thinks that the NFL is down, offenses are down. The game is not as good as it was when Tom was in there and he was helping run shit, and there was Peyton, and the quarterback play is not as good. And then you also get an Alex Smith who comes back, kind of claps back almost at Tom Brady, says, "You played in the most unfucking competitive division, basically in all of football, for damn near your entire career almost." It's a false narrative. Which side do you go with? Is Tom right? Is Alex right? I want to get your take before I give you mine.
I'm definitely leaning more towards Alex because I don't disagree that AFC East was unbelievably terrible. Like, you'd have outlier teams here or there that would be a little bit competitive, but none of them would be as competitive. Tom is weird because, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Athletically, he's not like that gifted. Obviously, he's got a good electric meatball between his ears, but he's just had really good teams around him and has done smart decision making. And that's what made him super, super successful. He's not like one of these athletic talents like a Mahomes or something like that, where you're like, holy shit, he's just popping off the film. And so in that regard, to me, like the quarterback play that we're seeing, you're seeing backups this year play some competitive football. The like offense to me right now is in an insane state where we are seeing some really high level quarterback play from guys that aren't even that good in like the grand scheme of things. Like Kenny Pickett, I don't like him as a quarterback. I don't think he's a franchise guy, but he's doing stuff still that is like kind of impressive. It's one of the stats I'm going to bring up this week. He hasn't had a turnover in 7 games, which is like, once he hits the 8 game mark, he's in like Aaron Rodgers threshold of like talking about not having turnovers and stuff. Like you see a lot of the game is catered towards offensive play, and you're seeing a lot of young guys come out and do good things. Will Levis, I mean, he's had down weeks, but like that first week was like impressive as fuck. And I wouldn't say that like we are not in. We don't know that we're in a golden era like we did when we had Tom and Peyton and stuff like that, or your Marinos and Elways and that sort of a situation.
Right.
But you kind of have that with at least in Mahomes, and then you have these fringe guys in Josh Allen, Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Like you have some of those guys, maybe CJ Stroud with the way that he's fucking playing. Like you have a lot of these guys that are like right there as being some of the best in the league. And there's reasonable conversation to be had about like, we're not talking about like a top 2 or 3. We're talking about like a top 5 or 6 potentially guys that are going to be in the league for the next decade and producing very well. So I all respect, but I got to go with Alex Smith's take a little bit more so on this one.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And Tom just stopped playing. That's the thing. So Tom, like, you were playing in this generation. Like, you're not that far removed from it. And Alex is right. It was a very weak. Like, you had 3 years of the Jets when Rex Ryan coached them. That was the toughest competition that Tom faced.
I'll be quite honest right now. If you asked me to list off like Jets quarterback, like Mark Sanchez.
It was Mark Sanchez.
And then I can think of like the next quarterback behind that, which is not even in that time period, probably is Vinny Testaverde. Like I can't think of
Zach Wilson, baby.
Like well, I mean, obviously we got the recent.
Anytime I can throw his name in there and make fun of him, I try to. So
sure. But it's like the Jets quarterback situation has just kind of been absolutely fucking hot steaming dog shit. So
yeah, and Buffalo was not good until Tyrod kind of burst onto the scene, and then they got rid of Tyrod.
But even then they were competitive, but not good. I wouldn't say that they were good.
They were 8-8. They were an 8-8 team that could, or a 9-7 team that could sneak into the playoffs.
In Miami?
No, Tannehill, Miami? No, God, no. But don't love him. Fitzmagic, Miami? Not competitive.
Right.
Like
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong at all. Now, but I will add one thing. So the game has been catered to the offense, at least for the last decade, right? We're starting. We see
absolutely
that
moved that direction. Yes.
Yeah, we see that like scoring is down, yards are down. It's not because the quarterback play is down or offenses aren't as good. It's the fucking defense is finally catching up to the new wave of everybody just running out there, fucking 5 wide, empty sets, and just slinging the ball over the yard. You don't see 330-pound defensive tackles very often anymore. You see a 285-pound 3 technique who penetrates and tries to sack the quarterback. Like, the defense is finally starting to catch up with the level of athlete on that side of the ball to compete with the level of athlete that's on the offensive side of the ball. Now, it just took some fucking time.
And Joe Rockstar might like this take, and I know that he's probably not watching right now. He's on a flight now.
Yeah.
I think that the NFL has catered to the offense to make them much more fun to watch, much more explosive. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, I think that they have started to maneuver their officiating in a way that helps the defense stay competitive as well. You look at that game on Thursday, that's my biggest complaint. It was a fucking flag fest.
Dude, the fucking officiating. We did this last year. Every week for like the first 8 weeks of the season, we talked about the officiating and how bad it was. And then it didn't really get better, but I felt like we got tired of talking about how fucking bad it was.
We can't talk about it every week. We can't. Because
it hasn't gotten
that could be a separate podcast. We could just have the Lineman Lounge flag show and just talk about officiating every week. And I'm sure it would just do gangbusters because it is obvious to everybody. When my beautiful woman, God bless her heart, who knows very little about football and officiating and rules, and I have been teaching her over the past couple years, when she goes, why did they get a flag there? And I go, well, this is what they called, and this is what that penalty is actually supposed to be, and I don't think it was right. And she's like, that's what I'm saying. Why was there a flag there? It didn't seem like he hit him that hard or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's the current NFL, and also these officials are terrible. And that's what I'm saying is I think that, like, yes, the penalties have helped like cater to an offense as well, but you're talking about breaking tempo, like an offense that's running quick time and things like that, or having tempo, like the amount of flags, the amount of discussions and stuff like that, it starts to break that tempo. It starts to slow things down. That helps the defense. It slows the game down where it's like, I could have an 8-play drive get done in a minute and a half, minute 45 seconds that ends up in a touchdown. Or if there's enough flags, this drive ends up taking real time 10 minutes, game time 2.5 to 3 minutes, and I end up with a field goal because things just got broken up. So like the officiating, I prefer to have it just be straight across the board. Everything is called the same on both sides. It is rough when you see one side getting called more than the other on ticky-tacky stuff. And so for that, I hated all the flags on Thursday night, but both teams were getting called on fucking ticky-tacky shit. My perfect football is we're letting the receivers and defensive backs fucking roughhouse a little bit. Like,
yeah, you're allowed to hand fight. You're allowed to jostle for position.
Yeah.
As long as we don't start pulling, grabbing, those types of things, it's not PI.
Yeah. Like, things got to be a lot more egregious for me to toss that flag out there because it's a rough and tumble game. It is 12 versus 12, not 12 versus 12. It's 11 versus 11, but you're talking about guys that you don't have that many officials on the field to be able to see everything. Things are happening every play, and it's part of the game.
Yeah.
The officials there for egregious issues. Like, I fucking hate so much when you see a running back break off or an end around or something like that goes for 50 yards, and then they're like, backside of the play, this guy that wasn't involved in the play, he had a pinky that kind of hooked into his shoulder pad holding it's coming back. It has nothing to do with the play, nothing to do with the fact that this guy just gained 50 yards, but we're going to call it back. It's so demoralizing. As a fan, it's demoralizing. But I digress. Man, we haven't even gotten off of our Thursday night game.
Fuck it. We're done. The refs suck. Thursday was a great game. let's get more primetime overs. Evo, let's roll into this week's games.
All right, first one up, we have the Colts and the Titans, starting off with a fantastic one for our morning slate.
Shit.
Out in Nashville, the line is currently Indianapolis -1, over under a 42.5. Will Levis, again, like I kind of said earlier, not playing fantastic, but he is playing. Jonathan Taylor going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks after a thumb injury. I believe he's having surgery. That kind of hurts my fantasy team a little bit. Bummer there. The interesting thing there, though, is that after that announcement was made, the line did not really shift much. It's still maintained. It's been around that Colts 1.5. The Titans, however, undefeated at home, straight up and against the spread this season. That's where they've played good ball. They are doubling their points per game on offense at home this year. So just like Baker is good on the road, Titans are good at home. This seems like a variable game in that sense. And so for me, I'm going to take the Titans plus the points on this one. I don't like the Titans team, but I'm taking the Titans plus the points. Vegas agrees with me. 59% of the bets, 62% of the money on the Titans. Until they start to actually lose games at home, we're going to continue to follow that narrative. They are 4 and it says they're 4-1 at home, but I don't believe that's correct.
I thought that, I think they're undefeated at home.
They're 4-0 at home, I'm pretty sure. Either way, okay. I'm still sticking with that.
Well, so I'm actually going to go opposite of you here. It's 1 point, right? I'm not sure. That's a pick 'em essentially. Colts 3-0 as the favorites on the year, and the Titans cannot beat a team with a winning record. The Colts are 6-5 right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
6 and 5 the one home loss season for the Titans, London, not really a home game.
Not a home game.
Nashville. We'll say they're undefeated in Nashville.
Okay. I actually like the Colts in this game, man. Colts on the money line. Titans. Sure, they're good at home, but they have not beaten anybody who's any goddamn good. I'm not sure if the Colts are really all that good, but with Jonathan Taylor banged up, it doesn't scare me that much based on the things that I have seen from Zach Moss. The drop-off has not been big. Zach Moss was looking like he might be a top 5 fantasy back the way the season started. So I like Zach Moss being able to continue to get that trend going against the Titans team that I don't think is very good and it cannot beat a team that has a winning record. I'm going to take the Colts money line.
And let me be clear. I hate this game. I hate both these teams. They're not fun right now. This isn't a fun game. The Colts aren't they'll end of the season, in my opinion, with a losing record type. That's the feeling. Whether they have a positive record or not, it feels like they have a losing record. They don't feel like they're a good team. The Titans do not feel like they're a good team. And it almost is a pick 'em here. We're at Indy -1. You can get -1.5 or +1.5 certain places. I believe FanDuel, but it's almost a pick 'em there. And so I'll take the points there when the Titans are winning in Nashville.
Yeah,
all right. Next one up, we have the Chargers and the Patriots. This is the game of the losing streaks. Hi, Facebook user.
Yeah, I was saying hi, Facebook user.
Game of the losing streaks. The Chargers, they're on a 3-game skid. Pats, 4-game skid. Someone's got to win this one, right? Maybe. We'll see. There could be a tie.
Fucking 3-3 tie.
Yeah, that would be impressive.
The Chargers can score more points than 3.
They can.
I'm not sure about.
And so this game's out in Foxborough. The line is Chargers -5.5, over under of 39.5. The New England, they are averaging 13.5 points per game this year. That's second worst in the NFL. And we'll comment here. It's Coach Fiak. Sorry if I said that wrong.
What's up, Coach? Hey, congrats on the state title, brother. I'll hit you up on the DMs pretty soon. We're gonna try to get Coach and maybe some of his players to come in, say hello, give them a shout out, maybe do a little coach's interview on from the state championship winning coach. Some questions. I need him to explain that brand of football, the 8-man, 9-man football. I don't quite understand it. I bet he can give me some inside knowledge.
Absolutely. But like I was saying, New England, they average 13.5 points per game. That's second worst in the NFL, just barely trailing the 13.3 points per game that the Giants put out there. I'm sure that we could have picked that one. Bailey Zappi starting at quarterback, I think.
Yes. That right now, that I believe is the plan.
It doesn't make a difference.
No, it doesn't, because they're the same player.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. This offense is terrible. absolutely atrocious. The only thing that's okay on that team is the defense, but it's only okay at this point. On the flip side, the Chargers defense also atrocious, like terrible. Again, Brandon Staley is a defensive coach. I think once the Chargers are officially eliminated out of potentially making the playoffs, that's when they'll pull the trigger on Staley, because you have to. Like, I don't like complete failure in ownership if he stays after this year. Like, I don't know why he stayed this year.
Staley's a defensive head coach, and their defense is fucking terrible. Yes. It's the same thing that got Zimmer fired in fucking Minnesota.
Yes, and they have a lot of offensive pieces that could make this team good, albeit next year is going to be a little bit different. Eckler is a free agent. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, you don't know who's going to be staying, who's going to be going. I mean, theoretically, Keenan Allen could retire. I don't think he will, but Mike Williams, it's going to be tough to keep both those contracts. Quentin Johnson's a fucking joke and a bust. So, like, offensively, right now, they're good. You have Herbert. You get an offensive guy in there that can really take this kid to the next level, because I don't know that they've had that yet. But either way, that offense can still put up points.
I have a recommendation for them. I don't know if it's going to happen because there's a chance that
Ben Johnson.
Eric Bieniemy is doing a really good job of calling fucking plays for a guy and stretching the ball down the field. If he doesn't get the Ron Rivera job and just move from the offensive coordinator to the head coach, they should be calling him as soon as fucking possible and get a guy who will push the ball down the field with that talent that team has over at the Chargers. That is a match made in heaven if you are a Chargers fan and if you want to keep that quarterback. That's who you should go get.
That's probably my 1A, 1B is Bieniemy and then Ben Johnson from Detroit. Like, both of those would be fantastic for Herbert in that offense.
Yes.
And you know what? Then it's okay if your defense is terrible, because your offense is probably going to be putting on more points to keep you in the game. Patriots, they're 0-9 in their last 9 non-divisional games as well. It doesn't bode well for them here. I'm not going to lay the points just because fuck the Chargers. They lost to the Packers. So Chargers money line, but I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Chargers offense can put up more points at the end of the day than the Patriots offense can against a absolutely terrible defense. So that's where
Chargers money line. Chargers money line as well, man. Patriots stink. They don't have any quarterbacks. They had the kid in preseason that was very dynamic, run throw. They tried him out at receiver as well. At this point, sign that if he's still on the practice squad or whatever.
Talking that quarterback?
Yeah.
Malik Cunningham.
He needs to be playing fucking quarterback.
I think he's been floating around back and forth between practice squad and stuff for him. So,
dude, he needs to stop. Just go put your best athlete on that team on the fucking field and see what happens. Your season is over. It's done. You're out. Go see.
And to be completely fair, I don't like Malik Cunningham. I don't think he's anything special. But he is just different enough.
He will add a different element to the offense that is absolutely not there.
Sure. All right, next up, we have the Lions and the Saints being played in New Orleans. The line is currently Detroit -4.5. This was actually, I believe, 5.5 at one point. Over under a 46.5. Lions drop a game last week to the Packers on Thanksgiving. They kept with their Thanksgiving tradition, bunch of bastards. The Saints have covered 4 straight as an underdog, and playing as a home underdog is only going to help things out there. That being said, the Lions defense is the worst ranked defense in the NFL weeks 7 through 12. They're allowing 29 points per game. That is what has flipped on this team from them looking like a juggernaut to, and I believe like the linchpin game might have been that Baltimore game versus the Ravens. Like that opened the floodgates. They have just been really, really bad on defense. Like you see good pressure. Like their front 4 to 7 is doing well, but everything back behind, it looks like they're a sieve. They're playing way too soft. They've got some talented guys back there too, and it's not happening. I would like to think that Dan Quinn is going to be able to figure this out. The Saints offense can be competitive sometimes, and that's what's scary about this game. But for me, at the end of the day, I'm going to take the Lions on this one. They are a better team. I still know the Lions that they were at the beginning of the year, and I have to think Dan Quinn is going to push that defense to do something different, like change their shit up, because what they've been doing the past like 5-6 weeks has just been god awful. And I don't have a whole lot of Saints faith in them being able to be good. Like, their defense is very solid, but the Lions offense is extremely solid. Like, the Lions offense can beat that Saints defense. The Vikings offense did it. The Lions absolutely can with their starting quarterback, right? Yeah. It's whether or not that Lions defense can contain the high-powered Derek Carr offense of the Saints.
Jesus. Yeah, so I love the Lions in this game. Lions covered 5 straight coming off a loss. A loss that they should not have taken to the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. That's going to sit not very well with them at all. Saints 0-4 against the spread at home this season. Saints have not been good at home. Lions, good, coming off a loss. Give me the Lions. I want to drop the points, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to take the Lions on the money line just to play it safe, just because their defense has not been good. But this is screaming Lions.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Falcons at the Jets. Playing out in Jersey. Line is Atlanta, -2.5, over under of 33.5. And I suppose this is time to talk about Aaron Rodgers has been activated off of the IR. He's in his 21-day window.
He will not play in this game. There's no fucking shot he plays in this game.
Oh, this one, no.
Yeah.
But do you think
he's got a couple weeks? No, because
21-day window, so it's 3 weeks that he's got.
No, because they're not very good. What is their record? I don't even know what the fuck their record is right now.
The Jets are 4-7.
Yeah, they're basically done, man. Like, you have to win out. And are they gonna win? Are they gonna win this weekend? Like, you got to be 10-7 to have a shot to make the playoffs in the fucking AFC.
This is my question: is what is the angle? Why activate him if you're not going to play him at some point?
It's Aaron Rodgers. It's New York media. This guy is so dedicated to this organization that he took less money. He brought in people that he trusted. He is trying to come back to bring us to the promised land. It is, I mean, tell me that this doesn't sound like an Aaron Rodgers and a media ploy. Now, granted, some of the media fucking hates Aaron Rodgers, but you know how you endear yourself to the entire New York Jets media? You fight to get back on the field from a devastating injury way before you can. And you know what's ultimately going to happen? He's not going to fucking play this year. They activated him. He looks like he has a possibility. He's got 3 weeks. If they're not going to win this game this week, I'll just give my pick away right here. They can't, dude. They are so fucking bad on offense. It doesn't matter who is playing quarterback. They are so bad on offense.
Which is still a question for me. I honestly don't know. Is it Tim Boyle? Is it Zach Wilson? I don't know.
I don't know who it is.
I don't know that I care.
It doesn't matter because we saw Tim Boyle. We talked about Tim Boyle's stats in college. We've talked about his stats in the NFL, and we know what Zach Wilson is at this point. I believe the Jets now also know what Zach Wilson is at this point, and I think they're finally admitting it because that's why he goes to third string. They're awful. They are so fucking bad on offense. And you know what the Falcons are finally starting to do is feed the ball to Bijan. Algier, Bijan, you can use a small to intermediate passing game, open up a couple of lanes, and those guys run all fucking day. The Jets have a good defense, yes, for sure. They'll slow them down, but the Jets can't score. The Falcons on the money line. The Aaron Rodgers thing, it's smoke and mirrors. It's a fucking fugazi. It's nothing to me. Yeah. It's stupid.
On the off chance, I went ahead and put Aaron Rodgers on my IR slot for my fantasy football team. He will not leave there. I don't care if he's active playing. I'm leaving him on the IR slot for the rest of the year.
So nobody else can use him for fantasy.
Yeah, I won't fucking actually let him play on my team. He's just in case he tries to play deep in the playoffs. or something like that in the fantasy playoffs, I'm not letting anyone else have them. Fuck that. But yeah, Falcons. Interestingly enough, the Falcons, they've lost 12 straight against the spread to non-divisional teams. If they lose this game against the spread, lose this game, they will have the longest streak in NFL history of losing against the spread. And I don't see it happening. The Falcons should win. I almost am willing to drop the points here. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to take the Falcons money line.
I think I'm going to. It's only 2 points, right?
2.5.
Or is it 2 and a hook now? Yeah, 2 and a hook.
2.5.
So yeah, they can win this by fucking 3 points. I'm even going more. Not just Falcons money line. Falcons minus the 2.5. The Jets are dog shit right now.
Yeah, offensively they're dog shit.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I brought up the stat earlier about the Patriots offense being the second worst in the league. Well, the third worst offense in the league is the Jets. So they're not putting up much more than I think like 14 and a half points per game. The Falcons have the capability to put up 3 or more touchdowns. 3, I think, is probably around where they can go, and then a couple field goals, especially with how they've been using Bijan more. So I'm just going to stick Falcons money line in this one because I think it would be a cool story if they do lose this game against the spread, like the Jets keep it close. But I'm definitely hoping for a big game for Bijan from this one. All right, next up, Cardinals and Steelers being played in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 6.5, over under of 41.5. A Steelers offense that has, surprisingly enough, looked a lot better without Matt Canada. Let's be clear, they're still not good. It's Pickett, like I said earlier, he's on a 7-game streak without a turnover. We'll see if that continues. Cardinals, they've looked better. No, I don't want to say they look better. Kyler has provided a little bit of a spark. He didn't look as great as he had previously last week. Yeah, but I still just, I'm not sold on the Steelers team. Steelers being 7-4 surprises the hell out of me. And dropping 6.5 to this Cardinals team that has been scrappy all year. They've gotten a lot of opportunistic turnovers, and you have a kind of wild card in Kyler Murray on offense. I'm taking the Cardinals plus the points here.
Son of a bitch. I was fucking doing the same thing. I'm doing the exact same thing.
I don't like the Steelers at 7-4 being favored this much. I don't care that you're in Pittsburgh. Look, Vegas agrees with us. 58% of the bets and 54% of the money is on Arizona on this one. There's actually a decent amount of it on money line. So like this 6.5 point spread just doesn't ring true to me. And then I'll tie this in as well to Barstool Sports Advisors. Jersey Jerry, big fan of Pittsburgh Steelers. His cousin fucked Zach Wilson. Fun story. Okay. Yeah, it has nothing to do with this game, but he's a big Steelers fan, big TJ Watt guy. He's super bullish on the game. Every time he's been super bullish on a game, the Steelers have gotten their asses handed to them. So that just was pushing me even further. Cardinals plus the points on this one.
Yeah, man, it's Cardinals plus the points for me too. Kenny Pickett is playing better. Sure, he's not turning the ball over. It's getting close to the end of the year. I want to say the weather is supposed to be real shitty tomorrow. And Pittsburgh,
AccuWeather is showing cloudy 46.
No rain?
I'm not seeing rain on here.
Okay. I thought it was supposed to. It's fucking been raining constantly. Thought it was raining tomorrow too. But it don't matter, man. I think Kenny Pickett's gonna turn it over again, finally. Kyler, bad week last week. He's got the Call of Duty fucking bug out of his system. It's not a double XP weekend, right?
No.
Nothing that we know of. All right, give me the Cardinals plus the points. Cardinals plus the points. I still think the Steelers will probably win this game in a close one.
Sunday, AccuWeather is showing mild weather, occasional rain and drizzle. Rain jacket may be needed for the football game. I'm trying to see an hourly breakdown. Tonight is going to be a little bit of rain, and tomorrow it looks like you might have a little bit of drizzle at noonish, and then after that, doesn't seem to be a
So
problem.
they're going to be playing on a soggy, wet field. I love the under for that, especially with these two teams. But yeah, Cardinals plus points for me, 6.5. Like it.
All right, absolutely. Next up, Dolphins and Commanders being played out in Maryland. Miami minus 9.5, over under a 49.5. I think it's fair to say Miami's a better team than the Commanders. All right, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That makes the taking the Dolphins money line here like a super slam dunk easy pick. Miami leads the NFL in total offense this season. They're averaging 430.5 yards per game. Sam Howell on the other side is still the NFL passing leader right now in yards. And the Dolphins are going to have a little bit of a larger issue on defense with Jalen Phillips going down for the year. They did sign Jason Pierre-Paul. I don't know what he has left in the tank or if he'll be able to pick up the defense quick enough to really make an impact. And then also for the Commanders, they fired Jack Del Rio. And I don't know that matters too much. Like I'm a Del Rio fan, but coaching wise, I'm not super sure about him. I think it's just more of like, I personally believe that this is me living off the name a little bit more than I should be. 9.5 though, like that's a little bit of a scary number for me because this Commanders team, we've seen it in the past, we've seen it this year. They've hung with some teams that they shouldn't because the offense has been potent at times. Obviously, the offensive line is dog shit, but you're losing a little bit of that pass rush capability from the Dolphins already. So that scares me a little bit. I like if I had to pick an upset of the week, it would be the Commanders plus the points here. But I'm not going to do it. I am just going to stick with the Dolphins money line. That's easy to me. Easy, correct pick.
Yeah, Dolphins money line. Commanders stink at home. 1-4 against the spread. I'm not going to drop 9.5 though. So for me, Dolphins money line as well. Pretty simple.
Now, interesting with Vegas here. 54% of the money, 54% of the bets are on Washington plus the points.
Yeah, I mean, doable for sure. Like,
so they might know
we have
something.
seen them. We have seen that offense be really fucking good, dude. Sam Howell will sling it all over the yard as long as he's got time. They could cover for sure. I still think Miami wins though. This is not a game that I'm probably adding to any parlays because the odds are not going to be great for a money line. And is it possible that Miami blows them the fuck out? Yeah, like we have seen this Commanders defense be really bad. Their fucking defensive coordinator just got fired. And the Miami has the most potent offense in the NFL. This could be an absolute blowout. So I'm not doing any of the points. Straight money line.
All righty. Next up, Broncos and Texans being played in Houston. The line is Houston -3, over under a 47.5. I still think the Broncos are frauds. Tell me what happened last week. Am I correct in that assumption based off of what happened last week?
They played well, man. We did not play well. DTR did not play well. We got banged. Like that team hits. I tell you that. If you play the Broncos, you're playing a physical fucking team. They maybe hit a little too much. We've seen some suspensions and some flags come from that Broncos team, especially in their secondary. But they're a physical team. They out-physicaled us. They played well. We did not like their offenses can be pretty good. Russell's playing good football. Cortland Sutton is, I think, a legit one. If you had to give me the option between signing a T. Higgins next year or a Cortland Sutton, I'm taking Cortland Sutton. I'd like him better as a wide receiver. Yeah. Just for me, that's for sure what I would do. So they have pieces. Javonte is healthy. Like they are a capable offense right now. The defense can be susceptible at times, but they've turned it around. This Broncos team is playing really good football, but so is this Texans team, dude. Like even last week, they lose a heartbreaker. Yep. CJ Stroud does not fucking blink. That kid got ice running through his veins at all times, does not blink, put his team in a position to win. Just didn't get it done. Like they're so fucking good. Like with him on the field, it's so hard for me to pick this game because I watched the Broncos out physical the hell out of us. I don't know. Can they do that against the Texans team, who is playing absolutely insane football right now? I don't know. I am going to go. Fuck, I don't even know where I'm going to go yet. This is one I've been back and forth on because I thought then they kicked the shit out of us. They were able to move the ball on one of the best defenses in the NFL. Now, granted, we played terrible on offense and could not keep them off the field, which did not help our defense.
Denzel Ward didn't play, I believe.
Yeah, Denzel Ward didn't play. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I'm going to take the Texans on the money line, not dropping points. Yeah. Could the Broncos win this game and continue their streak and try to make it to the playoffs? Yeah, for sure. But I think the Texans are in the same boat. I think they can win this game and possibly try to work towards a playoff spot. So I'm going Texans on the money line.
Well, I'll tell you this. I big part of me really wants to take the Houston Texans minus the points because fuck the Broncos right now. They are the worst story in football. That is the most fake made up bullshit. Like your guys' offense to me is like really hit or miss.
Yeah,
because of the quarterback situation. If you guys had some sort of a competitive offense that changes the defensive scheming and stuff like that for like that changes how the game is played versus the Broncos from the Broncos side. And I don't think that you're seeing the Broncos play against you like they did. Also, your guys' defense were missing two of your biggest playmakers on defense. Yeah. I still think that this Broncos team, like kudos to them for however many in a row it is, 5 in a row or whatever, 6 in a row, don't care. It's a fraud team. It's a fraud record. Sean Payton is a piece of shit. I really want to take Houston minus the points here. I'll go Houston money line as well. But like Houston should absolutely beat them. The one problem with Houston right now is that their defense has started to fall off a little bit. Like their defense wasn't great. Defensive play has fallen off a little bit. So for me, I really want to take Houston. But I'll tell you this, and it doesn't bode well for us. Vegas. Okay.
Everybody's on the Broncos, dude. The country is dick riding the country is dick riding the Broncos hard right now.
82% of the bets, 81% of the money are on the Broncos plus the points.
Broncos plus the points? It's 2, right?
3.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm fuck Texans money line. Staying there.
2.5 earlier today, and I would have dropped the points at 2.5.
Yeah. At 3, you're looking at push.
I really hope for a blowout in this one. Put them in their place. All right, next game. Panthers and Buccaneers have been played in Tampa. The line is Tampa Bay -4. Over under of 36.5. Frank Reich fired.
Yeah. Tough.
In addition to that, Josh McCown fired. You have Deuce Staley fired. Yeah, this is if you're a Panthers fan, I feel for you right now.
Is this a boon week for the Panthers because they fired everybody and they're gonna get an uplift? Yeah, I don't think so either, dude. This is gonna go the opposite direction.
Jim Caldwell
fucking smacked.
Jim Caldwell is the interim head coach and calling the plays now. The Panthers are currently the first NFL team in NFL history to have 3 midseason head coach firings within a 5-year time span.
Tepper. Tepper is a fucking madman. I thought our ownership group was crazy with pulling the trigger on like firings and just changing things too much. Holy shit.
I would think that Tepper has probably top 3 for worst owners right now in the NFL. Who wants to go coach there?
Nobody. Do you like the quarterback situation with Bryce Young?
If you want a Jonathan Gannon to come in, that's about it.
A replacement coach for a year.
This like Bryce Young, we don't know what he is yet, but he's not looking good right now. No. You moved up to get him, and you traded your best offensive weapon and draft pick future capital. Yep. You don't have a first round pick this year now, and your defense is bad. Your offense is bad. You have a rookie quarterback that you don't know if is going to be anything. Like, who wants to go coach there? The only way that you bring in a highly prolific, good head coach there is a lot of guaranteed money. That's the only way that I would go. If they offer me $100K guaranteed or 100 mil guaranteed for, 3 years or 4 years, whatever, cool. I'll do it because you're going to fire me after 1 year and the team is still bad because it's just a bad team. And I'm still walking away with all that money. Otherwise, you're going to get a Jonathan Gannon. You're going to get some retread or some young guy that really doesn't have a lot of stake in the NFL and just trying to get some money in a head coach job.
I had to look it up because I wasn't sure. They do have the ability to upgrade this team because they're going to have about $45 million in cap space next year.
That's not enough.
Not enough to get them competitive next year.
No.
It's enough to get them started. But when you lose your first round pick and you're not, and they have made some interesting, like we were not on Bryce Young. I was very off of Bryce Young. I got killed on Twitter for being very off of Bryce Young, but I feel pretty justified in where my assessment was at this point. But it's not the only decision that they've made in their draft picks over the last couple of years that we did not agree with. With Ike Ekwonu, right? We talked about him. Left tackle. He's not a fucking left tackle. He gets beat real bad. He's a guard. Like the way they're trying to construct this team and what they're doing, it doesn't make sense. It's a bad situation to go to. You're not going to get a good coach that wants to go there. Unless they are firm believe. You got to be a firm believer that Bryce Young is a NFL quarterback. And based on what would you be thinking that at this point?
The three guys that they fired, I kind of liked. I wanted to see what they could do there for 3 years. I'm not a Frank Reich denier. I like Deuce McAllister. He got looked at for the Philly job with Sirianni. And Josh McCown. He got looked at for the job. Texans job. Yeah. So you've got guys that are former players, charismatic, that players can get behind. And now you take a rookie quarterback who, yes, he's having a bad year, but you're going to all of a sudden switch everything up on him. You didn't get to see at all what these guys are capable of as far as developing your quarterback and developing this team because you were so trigger happy. Terrible job by the ownership there. I don't know that this team would be good in 3 years, but I would rather find out rather than tank them now because that's what's happening. You got a really good defensive coordinator in Giro Evero, who also has a terrible defense because there's no good players. Giro Evero got looked at for head coaching spots. Yeah. As well. He could go and he's easily going to get another DC job somewhere. But he might still get looked at for head coaching. Probably not based off his previous resume, but he's easily going to get another DC job somewhere because he's a good defensive coordinator. I don't think that he's going to willingly say, I'm staying with the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers because I've seen what this owner is now and I've seen how bad this team is. It's you hurt your team so bad by making this move if you're Dave Tepper.
Tepper ruined, I think, Bryce Young's chance to actually progress in the next, rest of this season and into next year. Because
I think that this is a minimum. This is a minimum 5-year setback in my eyes.
Oh, I was thinking 2, but I mean 5. 5 is a lot. 2, I was there because listen, the rest of this year's done, worthless, right? Mm-hmm. Now he's going to have to learn an entire new system next year. So next year, wash.
Oh, I'm talking about for the team.
Maybe when you're pulling the trigger this quickly and you're trading away the assets that you trade away.
In the line that you're talking about, I don't think Bryce Young develops anymore. I think that his NFL career is average at best. I think you fucked your first overall pickup permanently.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you cannot do this to a young quarterback.
Yep.
Because now, I saw what happens to a young quarterback when you fucking do this. His name is Baker Mayfield. And guess where he's playing this week? Playing the fucking Panthers. Yeah, it is perfect. That is exactly what has happened. Yeah. Bryce is on that same exact track now.
Yeah, and so you've got quarterback situations fucked up. You don't have first round picks to start building with next year. That takes you 3 years down the line where you're probably not off of Bryce yet because you still got hope that you can somehow turn around this first round pick. Meanwhile, you hired a less than adequate head coach this offseason who is not going to develop your team correctly, that's when we're starting to look into year 4 and 5 of like, this team just has nothing. They're going to have to like have some miracle picks in later rounds to turn this around. And I just don't know that it's going to happen. I don't see it happening. I think David Tepper really fucked this franchise up. I feel bad for Panthers fans, but we can get back to this game. So it is Tampa Bay -4 points. Interesting.
They're
Vegas
home,
here.
though.
Vegas, 58% of the bets on Tampa Bay, but 65% of the money is on Carolina. There's been some heavy Carolina bets, and I don't know why. I can't imagine that it's like the whole, there's a new head coach boost, because this wasn't that sort of situation where the players were like, fuck Frank Reich, fuck Josh McCown, fuck Deuce Staley. Like, this is probably the players feeling just down on
what
the
the
season.
fuck? Like, we're trying to build something, and you cut our legs out from under us.
Yeah, I bet Adam Thielen wishes that he would have just taken a lot less money to stay with Minnesota at this point. Because he thought they were a Super Bowl team. Bullshit.
No. When you draft a quarterback with minimal physical traits, he's going to have excellent coaching and be solid understanding of game plan and in between the ears. Bryce is a smart guy, but when you are constantly changing what he's supposed to be working on, he's fucked. Like, so Adam Thielen is probably fucked. This team is fucked. Buccaneers for me on the money line, though, because the Buccaneers are bad at home. Yes. So give me the Bucs to win a game at home finally, but I'm not dropping any points because they have been bad there.
It's the same thing. Buccaneers money line for me. This could be a tie game though. This could be like 6-6. Like, this is another snoozer. Not a fun one to watch. We've got one good game in the afternoon slate, in my opinion, and no offense to your team. But
none taken.
One really good slate. And we're going to jump to that game right now. That's the 49ers and the Eagles. This is for you, Joe Rockstar.
Hell yeah.
Your game of the week, your game of the year, maybe, because y'all knew you were going to beat the shit out of the Cowboys. So that didn't fucking surprise anyone. We have our NFC championship rematch here, except for Brock Purdy. Hopefully will stay healthy for this game and give us a real showing of what can happen. This game is being played in Philly. The line is San Francisco -3, over under of 47.5. This is one that I'm also going to kind of look into the weather too, because I had heard at one point that it might be a little bit shitty out there. San Francisco going into Philly being the favorite.
Yeah. Interesting that they are the favorite while they are on the road in Philly, who has been to the Super Bowl, but Philly hasn't looked exactly great. They've won, sure, but they're not the Philly team that we were looking at last year. 49ers obviously had a very 3-week lull, and then they're back to playing 49er football. Brock Purdy's playing well. I don't like the idea of dropping points in this game at all, so I will not be dropping points for the Niners. I'm going to end up going 49ers on the line, but I would also consider Eagles plus the points here, them being at home. It'll be interesting to see how this works out. They have not actually got to really play against Brock Purdy in any fashion. They got a quarter, was it, of Brock Purdy against the Eagles?
Yeah, something like that.
Very minimal. So granted, there's tons of game film all over the place on Brock Purdy at this point, but they have not ever played him. I like the Niners in this game to win. I think it will be a very close game though, because Eagles are positioned to potentially make another run back to the Super Bowl. That's our last year NFC Championship. In my estimation, this is this year's NFC Championship game as well. I'm going to go Niners, though, this week. I think that they have been playing good football since they had the bye week and their lull. Niners money line.
All right. I am taking the Eagles plus the points here because I think that this game is going to be very close and down to the wire. I think that this is either team's game. I don't necessarily like one team more than the other because, look, the 49ers and Brock Purdy, that lull still scares me a little bit. They've been playing fucking fantastic since then, so I should probably be looking at that in the rearview mirror and not worrying about it. But that being said, the Eagles are 5-0 at home. They have been playing. They've been beating basically everybody. The ground game's been going good with Swift. The one chink in the armor for the Eagles is that secondary. Avonte Maddox going down out of slot cornerback position is really hurting them. They can be had through the air. Can the 49ers take advantage of that? I don't know. Like, they've got some good pieces. They got some good weapons, but I'm not 100% sold. I think that this is going to be an awesome game, a good battle, and I do think it's going to be close. And when it's a coin flip of who could win, I'm going to take the points on it. So Eagles, they're at home. They're getting points. I'll take the Eagles plus 3 points on this one. I'm not saying the 49ers won't win, but I think it'll be close enough that getting a couple extra points is going to help.
All right.
And Joe Ruxler here. Niners D against a mobile quarterback is suspect.
It'll be interesting to see the way that works out now with the combination of Bosa and Chase Young on the opposite side. That might help deal with that mobile quarterback issue just a little bit.
Yep. All right. Sunday Night Football. Chiefs and Packers being played in Green Bay. The line is Kansas City -6, over under of 42.5. Also, by the way, for that Philly game, the most of the bets are on Philly, and the money is also on Philly on this one. So, okay, just for that. But Chiefs Packers being played in Green Bay, and the Chiefs are favored -6 points. Packers are 3-1 in their last 4 games. Love is having better stats like his past 3 or 4 games. 65% completion percentage, 8 yards per play or per attempt, and an 8-2 touchdown to interception ratio. He's become average.
No, he hasn't. Like you were talking about the Broncos being frauds earlier. This is the fraud of all frauds. Jordan Love is the fraud of all frauds. So is his Packers team, winning 3 of their last 4. They are bad. They're really bad. So is Jordan Love. Jordan Love is ultra bad. Like over the last couple games has been very lucky. You know who's helped? Christian Watkins going and winning fucking 50-50 balls. That is it. That is the difference in this offense is Christian Watkins is winning 50-50 balls. That is the only thing that has fucking changed.
I love that you fuck his name up every time.
What is his goddamn name? Watson. God damn it.
There's no K. And it's okay because he's a nobody. Matter.
He fucking stinks.
He's a niche player and doesn't really matter. So I agree with you there.
He is Quentin Johnston with the ability to catch a couple more balls.
I wouldn't even say that. I don't think Quentin's a deep ball receiver.
Oh, wow. All right. So you're really off.
Quentin Johnson, to me, even in his college film, it wasn't ever deep ball stuff. It was short intermediate yards and around stuff like that. He had drop ball issues, but he got yards after the catch. His yak was really good, but I don't ever believe I really saw him as being a deep ball guy. Whereas that's what Christian Watson's supposed to do, is he's just a deep catch threat. And that's kind of it for me. I
got to remember his name is Watson, right? Christian Watson.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's fine. Fuck it up. It's disrespectful and I love it. This is the thing is that the Chiefs, they're such a weird team to me.
They're not very good right now either, though. Yeah.
They don't want to blow anyone out. They looked like they could be beaten by the Raiders last week by halftime. They obviously pulled away and got a 31-17 win. They had a close nail biter versus the Eagles the week before. They beat the Dolphins 21-14. That's their recent history. And unless you want to jump back to the flu game where the Broncos beat them 24-9. Which again, fraud team. I think that the Chiefs will win this game. I do.
Me too.
I think the Packers recover.
I don't. I'm going to drop the points.
I hate it. I hate it. I'm taking the Packers plus the points.
Oh my God. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Amber, clip this.
Packers will not win this game. Chiefs will win, but I'll take the Packers plus the points.
I'm taking the Chiefs minus the points. This is historic.
All right. Let me find this game real quick here. Apparently my shit wants to fuck up. 60% of the bets are on the Packers. 85% of the money is on Kansas City.
Yeah. I'll go where the money's going.
All righty. Look, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. Why the fuck would I touch that team? I just want to get my picks right. Monday night, we had the
Do you
Bengals and
remember?
Jaguars.
I might scroll back while we're going over the next game real quick to figure out the last time you took the Packers and to see what the result was, because I'm pretty sure I know what the result was.
It's never good. You never trust the Packers. Monday night, we got the Bengals and Jaguars. What seemed like it would have been a really good game a couple weeks ago, and then Joe Burrow goes down. This game's being played in Jacksonville. The line is Jacksonville -9, over under of 38.5. We know the Jacksonville Jaguars are good. We know that the Bengals are not as good anymore with Browning at quarterback. At least they don't have the potential like they did when Burrow was playing. Like saying that Browning wasn't necessarily bad last week. He put up a very average stat line. I believe it was 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and like 200 yards, something like that.
60% completion percentage, 200 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I mean, that's serviceable, mediocre quarterback play in the NFL.
And that's kind of what you expect out of a backup quarterback that you could play 2 or 3 games, which isn't the case here. He's it. And I don't think the Bengals are making the playoffs because of it. Whereas the Jaguars, they're probably fighting for the 1 seed at this point in the AFC. It's like it's them, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
So that this Jaguars team is very good. They are getting better. They looked better last week. The week before that, they looked better. They started going more vertical with their offense rather than horizontal. That's a good thing for them. 9 points is a lot. The question is that, like, I don't know how much the Bengals offense can put up. Jacksonville has the second best record that they've had through 11 games in the history of their franchise. And then on the flip side, Bengals, their defense is so statistically bad. 31st in yards per game, 32nd in yards per play, 30th in plays of 25 yards or more, 29th in rushing yards per game. Etienne's going to be out there looking a little bit better as well. Zach Taylor is 4-20 without Burrow as quarterback. Everything spells that the Jags are going to win. The question is, are you willing to bite on any sort of a spread here? And for me, I'm not because it's too many. Like, if I was more confident in the team that was going to show up for the Jags, I'd drop these points all day. We haven't seen the full potential of the Jaguars yet. It's kind of been a common narrative this year is like they're a good team, but they haven't really put everything all together. We haven't seen like their true full potential on the field, and they're still able to get themselves to an 8-3 team here.
Yeah, but if they play their best football game, 9.5 is easy.
Yeah.
But we have not seen them actually do all 3 elements of a football game, win each one of those elements against the team that they should win all of those elements against. Like, the Bengals right now, sure, they were a very talented roster, but that roster was made better by Joe Burrow being able to move the ball down the field. Being able to possess the ball helps a defense. Like, that's one thing that a lot of people like, oh, their offense is good or their defense is bad. Like, when your offense can possess the ball long enough, your defense will be better. All of these things tied together, and the Bengals defense is going to be hurt. We have seen them be hurt because of that, because they are not possessing the ball long enough. It's the Jags. For me, it's the money line, just because I have not seen them put a full game together. This could be the week they do it, and then I'm riding the Jags to bury people for the rest of the year, because this is a game that they should bury the Bengals, because they won't be able to score enough and they will not be able to hold on to the ball long enough, and their defense is going to get tired. Yeah. So Jags money line for me.
Same thing for me, Jags money line. And as a side thing, I really hope to see the Jags and Houston play in the playoffs again this year. That would be a fun game because it was a good game last week. A field goal decided it. A missed field goal decided it, should I say. All right. That's it for the week until we jump back to your game happening in the afternoon tomorrow. Browns in Inglewood facing the LA Rams. Rams are favored -4 points, over under of 40.5. Myles Garrett still not playing?
I don't believe he's going to play.
What about Denzel Ward?
Let me check. Last I knew he was questionable.
All right. Well, while you're looking into it, Browns this year are 3-0 when they're coming off of a loss. The they stayed on the West Coast after their game last week in order to not have time changes and stuff fuck them up. Stafford back had a really good game last week versus the Cardinals. And Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, which will be interesting. Amari Cooper seems to like it, based on his comments.
I think it's actually going to be kind of a good thing. DTR is more the potential is obviously far higher with DTR, right? Young guy, more dynamic, can do things with his legs. The potential is much higher. But with Joe Flacco, I should know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a very pedestrian, average ass game, and that should be good enough. So looking at the injury report right now, I got full practice from Myles Garrett on Friday. Looks to be like he is going to go. Marquise Goodwin out, did not practice.
No injury designation heading into week 13 from what I'm finding.
Nope, no injury designation, full practice, game status, all things good. No injury related, rest, shoulder. Denzel Ward will be out. So that hurts. But Denzel Ward is not the guy that I would want to have cover Puka Nacua right now. Anyways, I'm going to have probably a Martin Emerson on a Puka Nacua. Bigger body on bigger body. It makes more sense to me. So is it going to be a big deal to not have him? Sure. But will it be super detrimental? I don't think so. But you were running some numbers. Did you have any more numbers you wanted to go over before I start kind of giving some of this?
No, that's stuff? Pretty much it. That you guys are 3-0 coming off of a loss, and that you stayed out there on the West Coast, which will hopefully help with the sleep schedules and things like that. It's good news that Myles Garrett is playing. I would worry that, is he going to get re-injured or anything like that from playing?
That is a problem. That does scare me. But listen, Myles is a smart guy. He takes really damn good care of his body. If he says he can go, he can probably go. If Myles didn't think he could go, he wouldn't. But I also think maybe sack numbers are playing a little bit of a role because Myles is, I believe, still leading the league in sacks right now. I think he really badly wants to break that record, but he wants to win more. And the numbers that I have are we're really good against teams that stink.
Right now, sack leaders, Danielle Hunter with 13.5 and TJ Watt with 13.5. Myles Garrett has 13. He's tied for third.
So he did not get one. He didn't get one last week because he went out of the game, got injured. Otherwise, he was leading last week before he left the game. So he wants to get back in there, but we're good against teams that are bad. We are 3-0 outright and against the spread on teams that have a losing record. The Rams 0-4 against the spread against teams that have a winning record. That is enough for me. I think we will win this game, but since I can take the points, I will. Browns plus the 4.
Yeah. The real question mark for me in this one is Joe Flacco.
How much does Joe got left?
Well, I don't like he got signed last week, and what when did he get signed?
He was on the field last week, so 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Okay.
He was on there wearing a hoodie, which I got one of those fucking brown hoodies from the veteran thing. Service? Yeah, salute the service, dude. Greatest fucking hoodie I have ever owned. Nice. It's so nice.
Nice. They're expensive, so they should be nice.
Yeah, they are super fucking expensive.
No.
Thanks, producer Amber. That was actually one of my Christmas presents.
And the thing is, like, is obviously if they're starting him, they've seen enough in practice to think that he should be good to go, right? Yeah. It's just a question for me, like, has he really stayed in football shape, not being on a roster most this year? I would assume that if he's willing to get the call and go and everything, he should be okay. That's the real linchpin for me. That's weird. I'll take the Browns plus the points as well here. The stats bear out that they should win this game. But yeah, it's same as you. If they're going to give me points, I'll take some of them because the Rams, like, they played real good last week. They're much better with Stafford out there. Kyron Williams back at it again, looking great. So like, I could see this going either way, honestly, but I'll take the points in it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, could the Rams win? Sure. Our quarterback situation has been tough to deal with as a fan, but
Hey, it's the same for my Vikings who are on bye this week. We don't know who our starting quarterback's going to be. I hate to say this. I think the Alopecia King is dead.
Hey, listen, I'm rocking with the Alopecia King until he hangs him up. He will, dude. He has been fucking great.
Always have a place in my heart.
Yes, he is not an every week starter. He wasn't. He did some really cool things down in Arizona for a while, and then they started getting beat. Like, he was keeping that team really fucking competitive. He came in and lit the world on fire for you guys for a couple weeks. He did good things for us for the times that he was here. He's just not a guy that starts every week and wins every week. Like, he could easily he could be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Alopecia King could be the new Fitzmagic. And I think it's a great career. Like, it's a guy that everybody can like, everybody can rally around. Got a dope nickname like the Alopecia King.
I'll say this. I don't think Nick Mullins makes us anything special on offense if we end up playing him instead. Jaron Hall, of course, I'd like to see what can happen there, but I think that it's going to be about the same as what we're getting out of the Alopecia King. AK-15 had 4 interceptions last game. One of them was his fault. 3 were drops, or tipped balls. So I think that the stats kind of make it look a little bit worse. Now, he should have had better decision making and whatnot. His pocket presence, like, it feels like he's a little bit slow to get the ball out sometimes in the pocket, and that he's not sensing the pressure as well as he should. He's elusive enough where he can get away sometimes, but it's not going to work all the time. If you're running a heavy contain against him, like a contain rush, you can get home, and he's not going to be able to have that scramble capability like you want from him. We don't have as many naked boots in our playbook that I've seen as we should with him, because that actually worked for us last game. If you fake handoff, boot out with it, and then let him have 1, maybe 2 reads.
Yeah, you run a levels concept on the boot. He's got a high-low, and then you run it from there. Like,
that can be really effective with him, and I think that we probably will still roll with him going forward, just because he has the higher upside compared to Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins can run an offense, but he came from San Fran, and he won games in San Fran in that system. It is simple West Coast type stuff for him. We're running a much more complex offense here, and having the versatility of being able to run with the ball is going to help a little bit. So that's why I think AK is going to stick in there. But this isn't a Vikings show. This isn't Vikings game. Vikings are on bye this week, along with the Bills, Bears, Raiders, Giants, and Ravens. So we'll get to talk about that next week.
All right. We got no more games. We got no other things to go over. You got anything left for the people before we get the fuck out of here?
No, sir. That's it. That is your December 2nd edition of the Lineman Lounge. We're in December, everybody. No longer November football.
No, it is silly season. Actually, what I got to go and probably go participate in right now. But guys, this is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. We are back every week. If you want to interact with the show, go ahead and hit us up on Facebook. We got a group, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X at Lineman Lounge. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can go to any podcast platform and check us out there. Or if you want to watch these beautiful, thick sons of bitches chop it up, and go over to the YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe, like, share it with all your friends, because we're awesome and you want to share that with your friends. But guys, thank you.
Watch the next episode of The Talk when it comes out. It's a good one.
Watch the next episode of The Talk. It's fucking, it's very good. I told Amber it's going to be easily her favorite episode of The Talk so far. But guys, thank you very much. We're going to get the fuck out of here. See ya.